boxing thought it would be you who would have your hand raised at the end of it. But you are absolutely sensational that night, Joseph. Did you always intend to make life so difficult for Wilder and to get the win the way you did?
You know, when you sacrifice time away from your family and you put in work and you learn from the mistakes you made in other fights, and, you know, like the loss against Joe Joyce, I think from then I've made some great changes in terms of working on with Andy Lee, working with George Lockhart, and I felt very confident coming into the fight. I had great sparring. I prepared very well, and I came in like quietly confident that I could do the job.
Oh my God, he didn't have, did he, Simon? It was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, and well deserved. I was going to ask you, Joe, because post the losses to, Anthony Joshua and Dillian Whyte, you go on a significant run of form because you're very active, and it's great to see fighters at your level being so active. Then you lose to Joe Joyce. And then you pick it up again. Has there been a real marked change? Because the one thing I observed about you was that I thought you had all the tools. Clearly you had all the tools. That's why you're the WBO champion. That's why you beat Andy Ruiz. But you didn't use them as much as I thought you could do. Has Andy Lee got you to change your style a little bit? Or is it just the maturing of a heavyweight boxer?
I think it was a lot of it's to do with Andy Lee, linking up with Andy Lee, but also bringing in George Lockhart, who does the nutrition and strength and conditioning. And I think these two together have made the biggest change, not only in my in the way, obviously my body and my performance, but confidence as well. And when you see everything, in camp going the right way, it only adds to the confidence going into the fight. So George Lockhart and Andy Lee have been very fantastic in my career.
But I also think, though, you're letting your hands go more, Joe. Is that a fair
I feel
observation?
like it too. Yeah, I feel like I'm not holding on to it as much, and not as defensive, and I'm being a bit more proactive instead of being defensive and on the back foot.
I noticed, so one or two people getting in touch with us. Zhang, he brings his own problems. He's something of a battering ram with that powerful jab that he's got, and we know that did for Joe Joyce. How are you going to take care of that in the night then, Joe?
Listen, Big Zhang is coming off 2 great wins off Joe Joyce, a lot of confidence, and Big Bang said he can bang everything that moves. So, going into this fight, I have a lot better movement than Joe Joyce. So I think with Zhang, it's going to be important to move, stick and move. And, he does tire in a lot of his fights, but I'm not counting on him to tire. I want the best Zhang there's going to be, and I want him to come for 12 rounds, and I'm going to give it my best in this fight. So stick and move and combinations, and like Simon said, letting my hands go.
I noticed there's a one-way rematch clause designed to protect Zhang's status as WBO interim champion. I mean, how do you feel about this? This might not be the only time you're going to fight him, right?
Yeah, it's fight Zhang, win, and then fight him again at the end of the year, and win again, then I'll be free to fight anyone else. But I guess it's like I see where they're coming from. They're trying to protect what Zhang has, and they did the same thing when Zhang fought Joe Joyce. So I have to beat him twice in order to move on and in order to fight for the championship of the world.
Are you comfortable with that, Joe? I mean, I love the activity. I mean, you were out 4 times last year. I thought you were really good against Simon Keane. I think I predicted that you would give Deontay Wilder all the trouble that you gave him. I expected a little bit more from Deontay, but with due respect to you, that's probably because you didn't allow him. But why have you kind of got yourself in a position where you are now? Former WBO champion of the world, fought everybody, prepared to fight everybody, and obviously Usyk somewhere along the line if that situation manifests itself. But why are you kind of the B-side in this conversation where you're having a one-way rematch clause forced upon you?
Listen, I know a lot of people in boxing have egos, and they worry about A-side and B-side and who's going to walk first, who's going to walk second. I'm not really fussed about all that stuff. All I want to do is be involved in the fights. Even if I walk first, if I walk second, I know what I'm going to do in the ring. And it doesn't really matter who walks first and who walks second and who's the B-side, A-side. But I just want to get in there, fight the hardest fights, the toughest fights, and do the best I can.
I wasn't making it so much about who walks in first or walks in second. I was more thinking about you having to... You beat him Zhang and then have to fight him again. Is it simply a simple commercial discussion because the belts are going to be tied up for a period of time, so if these fights are good fights, you might as well get paid for them? Yeah,
that's one of them. That's one way to look at it. But also, it's take the fight with the rematch clause, or otherwise we give it to someone else.
Right.
So it was sort of like a corner, but I'm happy. I'm happy I took the fight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Joe, I believe into your camp comes the man who, when sparring with Tyson Fury, did for his eye, hence the delay in Tyson fighting Usyk. What's the thinking in that?
You know, when they were out here, we spoke to Spencer Brown and spoke to Tyson, and they said that these guys gave them the best work, Moses Atuma and Agron. And even though Agron gave Tyson the cut before the fight, he was still giving him good work. So we thought that we're going to keep them out here or bring them in and to carry on the good work that they've been giving Tyson and give it to us or give it to me. And since we've been out here, they've